Hey, welcome to the show, Leading and Growing Your Real Estate Business. This is Coach James Short, aka Shorty. And this is a show for those within the real estate industry wanting to lead and grow their real estate business. It's a series of interviews that we conduct for those within the industry. So we're finding out what those leaders are within the industry, what makes them tick, what's their story, what are their strategies, and how to become the leaders and the growers within the industry. But also it's an interview series with those outside of the industry. I'm always a big believer of looking at a whole different part of the pie rather than just focusing on one part of the pie. Because what it does, it allows you to have a different perspective, allows you to get snippets or golden nuggets from those outside of the industry that can look into the industry and go, there's a different perspective. And so I encourage you to reach out to the guests. I encourage you to lean into these series to find out how can these pieces of information, experiences, stories help you lead and grow your real estate business. And before we get underway with our latest episode, just a little shout out to these amazing crew at Magic Mind. Magic Mind has been it's a productivity hit in the bottle. I've been using these supplementations now for a number of weeks, and the clarity, the focus, and the performance that I've been getting from these nutrients in a bottle. They've got amazing vitamins, amazing minerals. They've got a bunch of mushrooms in there as well. It's a great productivity hack that I've been using every single day. So if you want to try it out, head on over to www.magicmind.com/James Short, and you'll be able to get amazing discounts when you subscribe and when you try the product. And at the checkout, simply add in James Short 20 to get your discount. So head on over, Magic Mind, productivity in a bottle. Oh, I love it. Now, on with the show. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, put your hands together for this amazing man, model, human specimen, Rhys Uhlich. Oh my God, model and shed house man. He is an honor and a privilege to have him on the show. CEO and founder of ShedHouseAustralia.com. Go and check it out. From humble beginnings, Shed House Australia received national acclaim and attention with Rhys's own home, an iconic shed house he constructed on Phillip Island in Victoria. Seeing what he've achieved and the broad interest it has generated, Rhys then started Shed House Australia. His vision is to offer housing and non-residential spaces that give more creative and financial freedom to clients in their building journey. I've known Rhys for many, many years. We go back, to his early modeling days, where and my early fitness days, where we met on the show. What was it? Model Australia. Next
Make
top
me a supermodel.
Make me a supermodel. That's it,
Yeah.
mate. Thank you so much for being on the show, dude. Love it.
Thanks for having me, James. And yes, we have lived some lifetimes together, haven't we? Some different lives. Yeah.
different
Yeah.
lives, different journeys. It's so good. So, mate,
It's it's just it's funny how life works and you go through your different experiences. But yeah, well,
it does,
it's probably
right? Like,
worth
and
it. Yeah.
that's the so thing, right? That journey is just phenomenal. Like,
Mm.
we've both been following each other on socials and reaching out here and there, but just to watch you, the family and your adventures, mate. Like from those early days of modeling, and then obviously going to having families and traveling. Take us back to those early days of your career.
Yeah, I guess we met when I was silly enough to go for or apply for a national TV show called Make Me a Supermodel, as you mentioned, and it was basically like a Big Brother, but you were trying to become a model at the same time. So we're all locked in a house. This is in 2008. It was on Channel 7, hosted by Jennifer Hawkins, and one of the things of the challenges of the show was we had to get fit, and we had a hard taskmaster training regime led by the great man himself, James. So that's how I met James. James was actually part of the show, and he was he was our trainer and actually rode us pretty hard. I remember, like you, I was scared of you, but so that's how we met. I ended up being lucky enough winning that bloody thing. I think a lot of it was a popularity contest. I at the time was a primary school teacher, another lifetime of mine, and I think most of my kids at school seemed to vote for me, so that got me over the line. the girl who came second to me actually ended up being a Victoria's Secret model. So I couldn't compete with that. It was a little bit hard to swallow, but she was always, Shanina, her name was, she was destined for great things. So it's been great to watch her career go. And then mine has just led down these really different paths. And you're right, I've traveled a lot with my family. Modeling took me over to New York and LA. I've kind of tried to bring my wife and my two young daughters with me wherever we went. And not planned too much ahead, but yeah, one thing's led to another. And throughout that journey, I've gone from being a model to doing some television stuff. And then all of a sudden, heading up a company called Shed House Australia, which is the last thing my ego wanted to do, James. I wanted to be a famous Hollywood actor or a model, but I don't know. It's one of those things where with my modeling and acting career, I did all right, but it was kind of like as one door opened, another closed. And and eventually I had to acknowledge that, there wasn't a lot of ease and flow with the journey that I was on, and came home and, probably through a financial position that we were in, but also wanting to do something creative. So not having a lot of money, not feeling like I was creatively fulfilled with my acting or modeling because I wasn't getting a lot of work. I thought, maybe I'll be creative with this house build that we're doing. And yeah, chose the shed house model because the container house model, and it wasn't quite big enough, didn't really suit what we wanted. So it was interesting that the same creative buzz I was chasing with my acting, I found in the shed game. Did that house, never thinking I'd make anything of it other than my family home. One thing led to another. It gained a lot of public interest, and I guess, yeah, here we are now, probably 3 or 4 years later.
Fantastic. I love that. What a journey, right? It's all like sliding door moments. And
Yeah, it is. It's about getting out of your own way and not thinking how this is going to work. Probably for me, it was removing my ego from it. Going, you know what? The last thing I want to be is a steel frame shed builder, but this is maybe where I can leave my mark on the world. And just understanding that I'm not really in charge of how this is written.
yeah, I love it. And take me back to those initial planning stages of your own home. You said the container model wasn't the big enough. What inspired you? Where did you draw your inspiration from that original design that you did? Because it is absolutely divine design.
Thanks, mate. Well, first and foremost, it was driven by finances, as I said. So we had about 120 grand in the bank. I didn't want to get a mortgage. I had land that I'd purchased before we went to LA and did my modeling acting thing, but we'd not wasted. I'd spent most of my money chasing that dream. So we came home. I had my tail between my legs, thinking as a father, I was failing. I'd wasted all this money. So it was driven by, I don't want to put us in the mortgage stress if we don't have to. We've got this money in the bank. Let's use that and that only. The only things we could afford were, container model, or had to look elsewhere. Container didn't suit because it just felt a little bit constricted. You had these 2.4 meter or 2.2 or 4 meter ceiling heights, and it just didn't feel inspiring. I love the idea of the modular aspect, but I wanted height. I'm a big guy and I wanted this feeling of height. And I was drawn to the shed model, James, because having either had friends that had rural properties and they'd kit out their old shed and live in that while they built their house, and quite often their best memories were living in the shed or the barn. So there's the playfulness, and there's something inspiring about the shed and barn form that has these loft bedrooms, these beautiful open voids that feel architectural, but they're not in terms of the framing mechanisms of them. So I think I was drawn to it for the feeling you get from the barn or shed space. And also clearly the cost savings that were potentially there. But it wasn't an easy journey finding the right shed mob to do it and getting that through. But we got there in the end.
And so from that design of the house, from living in it, breathing it, it sparked some huge interest, as you said. What was that next step to actually go, oh wow, we've got a business concept here, we've got a business idea. How has that shifted and changed? How did you take that step? Hey guys, just a little side note here. How's it going? Are you on track this year? I know that sometimes this part of the year we can feel like we're in a bit of a grind, a bit of in the trenches. Are you on track from the original plans that you set out for the rest of this year? What I've realized is that with this time of year, we get so distracted and we've got trying to chase so many shiny balls and go down so many rabbit holes. And that's why I created a program called the 90. It's a framework that actually allows you to achieve more in 90 days than ever before. Some of the feedback that we've got from some of the people that have used the process, the 90, is that they've achieved more in 90 days than the whole previous year. So if you'd like to have the tools, have the techniques, have the framework on the 90 so you and your team can achieve more in 90 days than ever before. What it does, and it impacts you of how to get clear, what you need to do, and who you need to be to show up in order to achieve the things you want to achieve over the next 90 days. Simply head over to jamesshort.com.au, click on join the waitlist, fill in your details, and one of the team members will be in touch and take you through the 90 framework. On with the show.
Yeah, it's funny. I do listen. Not that my business is incredibly successful yet, but I have this feeling that we're going to get somewhere with this. And the whole journey felt pretty guided. I started sharing it on socials without really knowing why. I thought, well, this is me doing something that is way out of my comfort zone. It's fairly vulnerable in the sense that it may not work. I'm putting everything on the line, but I started sharing, and I think people. It was the start of COVID, so people were at home. They were a little bit disillusioned with what was going on. They wanted something to connect to. So it really was. The timing was perfect in terms of it really got people's interest as a way of doing something different, breaking away from the norm and the systems that they were used to. So I think the shed house, in a way, symbolized a lot of things for people. So it gathered public interest in that way, in terms of it's got its own social media following, and this thing ended up being much bigger than I could ever be, which is incredible in its own right. Then I think the big game changer for me was once we finished our home, I got a call from Domain Real Estate Magazine, I think the Domain Review, and they said, look, we've seen what you're doing, we love what you're doing, and we'd love to cover it. And I ended up making the cover of Domain Review, and that was just a game changer for me. For someone that couldn't build a chicken coop, and still can't, Jim. I'm the brains behind it, but I don't actually get on the tools. It was a real game changer. It gave me credibility in the space. It also brought up the imposter syndrome within me as well. Like, what am I doing? Like, I've started something I can't control. But yeah, it was, in hindsight, the thing that really shifted it for us and put us on the map.
Oh mate, what a journey. I love it. I love those little moments that create the big moments, and here we are today. So where is the business at the moment? Like where
Yeah.
are you guys located? Where are you looking to go? Where is it today?
Yeah, so we finished our house at the end of 2020, and at the start of 2021, I kind of did a soft launch of Shed House Australia, the company. And the only reason I did it, James, is because of the interest that was there. And I realized there was a real gap in the market, which is where most great ideas come from. It's like, if you need that, if it's a need of you and you realize there's nothing out there, then that's probably a good reason to start it. So for me, it was more like, wow, if I don't do this, someone else will. I've learned a lot on this journey. Maybe I should start this. I've been given this gift in terms of the exposure and the following. So I started in 2021. A couple of years, I did it on my own as a sole trader, doing custom consulting for people in their shed house journeys. Almost killed me mentally. There's one thing building your own house, there's other thing taking on someone else's energy and their expectation and all of that. So almost killed me. Learned a lot. End of 2023, I got a partnership buy-in from a really great dynamic couple, Katie and Dave, who are equal shareholders and directors with me now, and they just brought a real development refinement to the company. And now we're an official entity, and we're building 60 homes around Australia over the next 6 to 8 months. And the great thing about it is, because we are a shed house model, we lean on BlueScope and Colorbond, so we can deliver around Australia for free. Everyone's your whole house kit, or your external house kit. So that allows us to be a nationwide company, which is good and scary at the same time.
Far out, man. That's incredible. Like, if you've jumped onto your website, I love going through your socials and scrolling through, because we're actually, we're looking for some land up here, up in Northern Rivers or Lennox Byron way. And we always go, that design would fit on this block, or that design would fit on this block. Where do those different designs come from? Because they're all a little bit different. They're all unique. How did you come up with those different ranges?
I think there was an inspiration from the Scandinavian barn, for sure. I look at what the UK have done with the barn form, even New Zealand. They've really embraced their traditional architectural style, and they haven't cheapened it. They've actually they've elevated it. So our version of the barn is the Aussie shed. And if there's ever a quintessential Australian architectural style, it's probably the shed, because it's been dotted on our landscapes for generations. But the whole shed house thing has been cheapened a little bit by shed companies not really taking design intent into it. They're more about just, something that looks like a garage or a shed. That'll do. Get it engineered to a class 1, which is a residential standard. But we've really tried to bring architectural intent to it, still use the traditional framing methods. but makes sheds sexy, you know. And I think that's really our whole intent is embrace the Scandinavian UK barn form, but do it in our Australian way, which is using cold form steel, traditional shed products. That allows us to lean on the giants, being BlueScope and Colorbond. We're only designing what we know we can get from the shed manufacturers, and they are dotted all around the country. So we are our own manufacturing platform, but we lean on the big guys in that sense. So for us, it's about refining what is already there and making it residentially focused.
And that's why, like, if you look at the designs that you guys have, like, and how it just fits into the natural landscape, you've
Yeah.
just absolutely nailed it. It's not like, oh, that's a little bit off kilter. It's like, no, every design that you guys have, it just fits into if it's coastal or more inland or what. It's just you've got everything for everything. So it's the
Cheers.
design. The
I,
design
I,
is absolutely beautiful.
I think it just speaks to the fact that simplicity is timeless, and
Yeah.
it's just a gable. It's a 45-degree pitch gable form. We've done a lot of intel on how it's framed and how it performs thermally, all of that. But the actual aesthetic of it is a timeless aesthetic that will never go out because it's probably been our longest serving architectural style. And you're right, like you talked about being the Northern Rivers. Our biggest intakes are probably, say, your Alpine regions, which it suits beautifully, and then your Northern Rivers, Sunshine Coast, Daylesford in Victoria, which is another look again. But it just shows that it fits in so many different locations. The other exciting thing for me, James, is that we're also talking to government authorities to provide an affordable housing model, and that's what really gets me excited because it just shows how viable this product is across all sectors. So we can look at affordable housing for someone like the Salvation Army, and then we can look at doing multi-million-dollar estates in, say, the Northern Rivers or so forth. So it's very rare to have a housing style and company that can go across all sectors. And I just think it shows that simplicity, there's beauty in simplicity. And if you do it right and don't do it too much and just don't reinvent the wheel, only refine it, I think that's the secret with what we're doing.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And so
Yeah.
where's the future for you guys? I mean, you said affordable housing, but you said the beautiful McMansions
Yeah,
or not
both,
McMansions, but like, so
Yeah.
where is that the next couple of years for you
It's
guys?
probably a combination of both, mate. We and my business partners have been driving this as well. Their main goal is they want to see these shed houses in Metro Melbourne. So we're doing builds in Windsor, in South Yarra in Victoria. We're doing builds right in the heart of Melbourne, which has never been done for a shed house model. So that's a huge one for me, and also my business partner share this. But I want to create affordable shed house communities. So I get so disillusioned driving by these new estates that have these Lego type houses where people spend their life savings on a house that I don't think inspires them. I think that if it's one of the biggest financial decisions you'll make, you want to be living in a house that inspires you. So whether that's an affordable housing for someone in need, we want to put them in something that inspires them, makes them feel good about themselves. Whether that's someone paying 200 grand for a house or 2 million for a house, it really shouldn't change how we approach what we do. So it's both, mate. Like for me, my biggest legacy to leave will be to help create affordable housing communities, but I'll also get a real kick on creating multi-million-dollar homes using sheds because that's never really been done.
Oh, love it. It's so good.
Yeah.
On
Cheers, mate.
on the show we have our 60-second quiz to find out a bit more personal about our guests. Are you willing to play?
Of course, mate. Of course.
Let's go. All right, here we go. Favorite movie?
Oh, Shawshank Redemption.
Fantastic. Favorite food?
Do. My wife's lasagna, which I think a lot of husbands would say that, but unbeatable.
Favorite holiday destination?
Ooh. Oh, look, it's going to sound so cliche, but I do love Bali, and it's only because of the people and something about the way they live, and they live with such, I guess it's karmically related. So they do so much good, but also the way they give and their offerings and the way they live their everyday life. And the simplicity of it, I think I actually learn a lot from the way they build too, because they don't overthink things. They build with what's around them. They're so resourceful. So that's, yeah, probably why.
So good. What's your morning routine?
I will jump up, usually have a sauna in the morning. Well, I live on Phillip Island, so we're quite cold this time of year. So I'll start with a sauna, and then I'll try and get in the ocean. So a bit of hot cold therapy, I guess, in a way. The ocean and surfing is my meditation, and the only time I think I stop thinking about work is when I'm in the ocean.
Beautiful. What about
Yeah.
evening routine?
I try and put my phones away at about 5:30 or 6. It's hard because I work on my phone a lot of the day, and then I'll just try and spend time with my girls. We usually go for a night ride or, something where I let them, we help each other become present, by just putting things away.
Yeah, beautiful.
Mm.
If you could choose 5 inspirational people to have dinner with, who would they be? They could be dead or alive.
Oh, that's a toughie. I'd start with Kelly Slater. I just love his mind. I think he's an intriguing person. Clearly, I love his surfing, but I just love the way he articulates himself, and I think that's a real strength of his and the way he sees the world. But then he's able to actually articulate it. That's one. I'm going to say Bob Marley because I just have so many questions for him, and I think he was a pretty big trailblazer in the world and what he came up against with his, freedom of speech. Ooh, Donald Trump, and I'm not a huge. I don't know if I'm a Trump fan or not, but he intrigues me. I'd love to just say, is that actually who he is behind closed doors as to what we see? Because I feel like I'm watching a Netflix series, watching the presidential campaign at the moment. So that intrigues me. Probably my grandmother Elsie, who's inspired me to live. She's passed, but has inspired me to live a way where you're just constantly going with the flow and not getting stuck in a certain way. And I think without that, I wouldn't be doing Shed House Australia. So not being too tied to certain ways. I think that's 4. And 5, I'd have to bring my wife Claire along, who's been, behind any decent businessman is an incredibly much stronger wife. And I think
So
that's the
so
case.
true, so true.
Yeah. Yeah.
So good. If you were prime minister for the day, what's one thing that you would change?
Yeah, probably the affordable housing model, and then how we see housing, and we need to put less or clearly emphasis on affordability, but also inspiration of architecture. And my business partner says this, but it's very true. Like a good architecture and affordable homes shouldn't be mutually exclusive. So I think for so long, people have assumed that anything to look good, it's got to cost a lot. So yeah, just change the way we see affordable housing.
So true. Best piece of advice.
um, Good one. For some reason, I wanted to say forgive yourself. I think it's about like I personally, and maybe a lot of people hold a lot of shame or self. They're tough on themselves for things they've done in the past. I think until we can get through those, we don't allow ourselves to have the success that is we deserve. So I think for me, it's been about that.
Beautiful, mate. Beautiful.
Yeah.
How can the audience get in touch? How can they follow your journey? Where can they go?
So I guess, yeah, a lot of my journey at the moment is Shed House related. So Shed House Australia on Instagram is the handle, and then shedhouseaustralia.com is our website. So both of those will give you a lot of insight into who we are. My Instagram is at Rhys Uhlich, and that's probably more my family and sunsets and surf.
Love it. Rhys, mate, always appreciate you, who you are, what you're doing, your journey. And I just want to say thank you, mate, from my heart to yours. Super appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, mate. Appreciate it.